It's no secret that marriage isn't easy. I actually think that relationships are the most difficult thing that we do as humans, as people. Relationships, by far, are the most difficult thing, the thing that will challenge us the most, the thing that will push us the most, the thing that will expose you the most, the deepest. However, it's also like the most rewarding thing that we can do is have relationships. The best parts of life are usually in our relationships. And I'll be real with y'all, like I made some mistakes in my first marriage, and my first marriage was not successful. My second one, so far, successful. My wife's in this bed right behind me. You can't see her, but hey, maybe wave, baby. Maybe just throw a, yeah, there she is. Okay. So, but in that first marriage that didn't necessarily work, I uncovered what I believe is the hidden reason why most marriages fail. And it's a easy to overlook mistake, and it's a mistake that I made, but we don't waste a situation here, right? We don't waste it. We learn from it. And I'm going to share in this video what I think is the biggest hidden mistake that causes, if a marriage fails, I believe that this is the reason why. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once I saw it, I can't unsee it. And I think it's going to be a real eye opener for you. So first, let me tell you some things that it's not, which is like a lot of the common advice that I got, and some of the stuff that I read in relationship books. Like the number one hidden cause why a marriage would fail. It's not fighting about money. It's not money issues. It's not financial issues. Even though I think that's like the number one documented or studied reason why marriages fail is financial issues, money problems, but it's not that. All right, it's something that's a symptom of this issue, but it's not the reason, it's not the cause. The real hidden cause underneath every single failed relationship, marriage, and like struggles underneath is misaligned leadership. Now, before you click off this video thinking this is like another video about who should be the leader in a relationship and why, this is not one of those videos. That's not what this is. And I'm kind of over those types of conversations myself. So I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to click off if that's what you thought this is, but that's not what it is. Misaligned leadership. This is something that I got wrong in my first relationship and, my first few years of being a man in relationships, trying to have a successful relationship. And the thing about this is it's not just unique to men, and this is really going to make sense when I get into it, but misaligned leadership is something that is for the husband and the wife in the relationship. Now, I recognize this is 2025, and there's marriages look different. It's not how it originally came as man and woman. I'm a heterosexual male. That's the perspective that I'm coming from, so I'm just going to speak to that perspective. In my previous marriage, I thought that I was being a leader. I thought that I had leadership. I made plans. I took accountability. I initiated structure, and I made decisions, most of the decisions, about where we were going to live, how much money we spent on things, so on and so forth. But in that, I see in hindsight, and the thing that I want to share with you in this video is I wasn't actually leading. Okay, now it's not that I was a bad husband per se, and it's not that she was a bad wife, or that both of us were failing at this thing called leading, right? But I wasn't even leading. What I was doing is controlling. And the thing about being controlling is it's the opposite of leadership. Now, again, this isn't about like traditional roles or about who wears the pants in a relationship. This thing that I'm talking about misaligned leadership, like it affects everyone in the relationship. Maybe in the relationship, you're the planner. Maybe you're the fixer. Maybe you're the one who always tries to keep things stable. Or maybe you're on the other side and you're feeling managed in a sense instead of partnered with. The thing is, like, marriages really don't fail from a lack of love, in my opinion. They fail from misaligned leadership. And let me talk about what that looks like and let me actually break it down. Aligned leadership is when both people in the relationship are moving in the same direction by invitation and by choice. There's a shared agreement, there's a mutual understanding, and no one is being forced into anything, no one is being manipulated into anything, and no one is moving in a direction that wasn't by choice. Now, misaligned leadership, on the other hand, which what I think is the number one cause of most relationship misery and ultimately failure, is when one person is dragging the other person, when one person is pushing the other person, when one person is manipulating the other person to be a certain way or become a certain way, or to get them to simply just comply or fall in line. And, most of us have a very basic understanding of what leadership is or what it looks like. And a lot of us, in my opinion, got it wrong. We have it wrong about what leadership means. But what we think it means, and what I learned it means, especially being in the military and just how I grew up, it means being in charge. It means making the decisions, calling the shots. It means having the final say on things. And it means being the one who's always going to fix the problems. But it looks totally different in marriage. What real leadership looks like in marriage or in relationships is completely different from all of what I just said. It's about creating connection. It's about inviting collaboration on all decisions, on all outcomes. It's about building trust together. It's about being sure that you understand each other, understand the wants, understand the needs, understand the vision, understand the pain, seeking first to understand. I could actually just say it like that. It's about understanding the other person before you even ever get to a place where you try to solve for anything. Like I said, maybe you're the person who's the fixer and you don't actually try to understand, but you make assumptions and you jump into things, and that's not leadership. That's misaligned leadership. Are you starting, maybe, I hope this is making sense. Maybe you're starting to see where I'm coming from and what I'm talking about when I say misaligned leadership. Now, the wrong way of leadership that I kind of talked about at first, that creates like parent-child dynamics. That creates like employer-employee type of dynamics. It doesn't really create partnership. But real leadership, like I said, where we're seeking connection, where we're making sure we understand, where we are inviting collaboration, that's what creates partners at the end of the day. What it took me some time to realize is my leadership before was rooted in fear. Anytime you're trying to control a situation versus collaborate on a situation, anytime you're jumping in and making assumptions versus trying to really understand, anytime that you're making decisions unilaterally, just operating from a control-based perspective, it's usually rooted in fear. Now, I don't mean fear that like you're going to lose your life, but I just mean fear of instability, fear of the relationship failing, fear that if I wasn't the one who held everything together, it would all fall apart. And that's the type of fear that I'm talking about. And that's the type of fear that can show up on both sides. And the thing that's kind of crazy about that is when your leadership and how that shows up in a relationship comes from that place of fear, it's probably going to create the very things that you're afraid of. When your leadership is coming from a misaligned place, it creates tension instead of connection. It creates resistance instead of collaboration. And it creates disconnection instead of intimacy, which is what you got into a relationship for in the first place. And probably the hardest pill to swallow in all of this, especially, if you even want to be in a successful relationship, in my opinion, is the frustrations that you have in your relationship are usually not about the other person. And I can say that the frustrations that I was experiencing that were causing me to not be the best leader had nothing to do with her, but it was about me. And it was about me honestly just not understanding, not knowing, missing the true heart of what leadership is and what leadership means. And what it means is creating alignment through love and understanding and communication, and not through rules and control. So, what does this control based leadership actually look like? It looks like just flat out saying, this is what we're doing, acting like an enforcer without having that collaborative conversation. It looks like being focused on fixing your partner and always being focused on what's wrong with them and what they need to do better, instead of, honestly just looking at yourself and being focused on who you're being in the relationship. Control-based leadership is really always looking at, how can I avoid problems? How can I avoid conflicts? How can I just be ahead of it all the time? And usually when someone is often reacting or responding in a defensive way, or there's defensive communication going on, it's usually stemming from control-based leadership. And if there's any type of emotional distance, it's because there's been some misaligned leadership rooted in fear, rooted in the need to control, and that ate away at the emotional connection. Now, here's what I found works really well for me, and what I would call connection-based leadership. It's always being willing, no matter what's going on, no matter what the situation or circumstance, it's being willing to say and really mean, let's figure this out together. It's not about one person trying to figure everything out by themselves. It's about both people being willing to honestly say and mean it and back it up. Hey, let's figure this thing out together. It looks like being focused on improving yourself first. It looks like having habits that take care of you first. It looks like having goals that ensure you're being the person and the partner that the best version of that you could be. And it's not, perfect. It's not being perfect in that by any means, but it's having an intention to be moving towards that. And above anything else, connection-based leadership, the true heart of leadership, what it ultimately does is it creates safety. And once that safety is created, it invites intimacy and a deeper emotional connection that will allow the two of you to really get through just about anything that comes your way. Trying to be in control of everything creates compliance. It doesn't create connection. But focusing on connection is what gets you a partner and creates partnership. So honestly, this video is getting a little bit longer than I thought it would. So drop me a comment if you'd like me to continue on this topic or you found this insightful. And maybe I can do another video on how do you actually create that aligned leadership. I have a pretty simple framework that I use, but it would honestly do a lot better as a separate video because, like I said, this one's getting kind of long and I really didn't want to overtalk this one. So drop a comment. Let me know if there's an area in your relationship where you see this, this misaligned leadership or this need to control kind of show up. Is it about money? Does it show up in parenting? Does it show up in just like daily, everyday decision making? Let's talk about it. Let me know. And the challenge for you, and it's only right because this channel is called Slowing Down with me, Sid Scott, if you didn't know that. The challenge for you the invitation that I have for you is to just see if you can catch yourself this week in a moment of trying to control something, in a moment of fear showing up, and see if you can try the connection approach. And if you do, reach out to me, let me know how it goes. But anyways, I'm going to end this one here. I'll see you on the next video.